Ever get that feeling? You're calling, like customer service, right? And suddenly it sounds like you've been, I don't know, transported across the world just by the sound of the person's voice on the other end.
Yeah.
That's offshoring in action, right? It's companies basically shifting their work overseas. We see it all the time. I mean, even Telstra, they're sending some of their customer service calls over to the Philippines. So in this deep dive, let's try to unpack what offshoring really means, like why companies actually do it and what it all means for us.
Well, it's funny because offshoring is often presented as if it's, it's like this new thing, this modern thing, but it actually has roots that go way back. I mean, companies have been strategically moving parts of their operations overseas for decades.
Really? So it's not just a recent trend then?
No, not at all.
Okay. But when we say offshoring, what exactly are we talking about? Like, what kinds of work are we actually talking about here?
So think of it like this. If a company can do it in-house, they can probably offshore it. It's not just making physical things, though. Manufacturing is a big part of it.
Right.
We're talking IT support, customer service, even financial analysis. Take, for example, the booming tech industry in India.
Oh, yeah.
Many global companies have tapped into that talent pool for software development.
So India's tech scene is kind of like a real-world example of offshoring in action.
Absolutely.
It's not just about saving money then.
You got it. While lower labor costs are definitely a major factor,
right.
Think of call centers in the Philippines.
Yeah.
But offshoring is more nuanced than that. Companies also look for specific expertise.
Okay.
Like if you need top-tier coding skills, India might be your go-to.
Makes sense.
Or maybe you need customer support 24/7. Offshoring to different time zones makes that possible.
Right, yeah.
So there are a lot of different reasons why companies might choose to offshore.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like with Telstra, they might be looking for, language skills and cost savings, both.
Yeah.
What about the other side of that coin? What happens back home when those jobs move overseas?
That's a great question. It's one that generates a lot of debate. You have, on one side, people concerned about potential job losses.
Right.
In the home country. And it's not just about numbers, it's about people's livelihoods, right?
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, there's this argument that offshoring can fuel economic growth.
Okay.
In developing countries, creating new opportunities.
So it's not like a black and white thing.
No.
It's kind of complicated.
It's very nuanced.
Yeah. This is a perfect example, I think, of how a seemingly simple concept, just like moving jobs overseas, can have like a ripple effect.
Absolutely.
I mean, you buy a shirt that's cheaper because the fabric was made in Bangladesh, but maybe someone in your own town lost their job at the factory that used to make those shirts.
Exactly.
What do you think is the biggest impact of offshoring on just the average person?
Well, I think it's woven into the fabric of our daily lives, often without us realizing it. Look around your house. Your phone, clothes, even the coffee you drink. There's a good chance offshoring played a role in getting those things to you.
Yeah.
It can make things more affordable, but it also asks us to, I think about where our products come from and, kind of the implications behind those choices.
That's a really great point. It makes you stop and think about the global connections.
Yeah.
Behind these everyday things.
Exactly. And the next time you call customer support, think about where that call center might be and the reasons behind that decision.
So to kind of wrap things up, offshoring is companies taking their work overseas for lots of different reasons. Cost, talent, around-the-clock operations.
Right.
It's complicated. There's benefits and there's drawbacks. But the takeaway for you listening is this. Next time you interact with a company, any company, ask yourself, could some of their operations be offshored? How does that change how you see them? And how do you feel about the trade-offs, the pluses and minuses that are involved in our globalized world? It's definitely something to ponder.
For sure.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
My pleasure.